Codes were something, and still are something, to get excited about, but back in the day we didn't have too many, well, there wasn't really a variety to be honest with you, but 13.1 was always there on hand if need be, along with things like Dragon Blade, etc, etc. But of course this helm was one smexy looking thing, and that badger on your head you can't really go wrong with. So for the duration of today we'll be looking like a badger. Boss drops were, well, quite often member-only items, but sometimes there were certain bosses you could kill that would give you armours that weren't member, and as far as I can remember here at the ruins, this lovely golem fellow would give you his stone armour. I remember this because I used to farm for his gear quite a lot, but often got a load of rubbish like that grumpy hammer. However, talking about bosses with cool things to farm for, Vath was one of the Chaos Lords, of course, and I'd go probably as far to say, at the time, one of the coolest looking and best armours available in the game, because this was incredibly early on, remember, and Estrian's armour, well, it wasn't really all that much to shout about, and neither was his staff, but Vath brought in a really cool sword, colour custom cape, and lots of other cool bits. Now, one of my life goals that I have still yet to achieve is at the Guardian Tower, and of course you have this special room for all your other memberships on other games, and they have special shops and classes that are available for you to get if of course you have the memberships in the other games, which to be fair I still haven't, so I still haven't got any of those shops. Now fishing, well it's fairly well it's not fairly recent at all, it was actually ages ago, but there was actually a character page badge here for getting the derpy moose fish, and it was incredibly difficult, and it probably took me till I was nearly rank 30 until it popped up anyway, but that was one of the main reasons to come fishing, because character page badges was something to be sought after. If you wanted it, you had to work hard, and that's what you did at fishing. Not to mention the amount of times you'd probably run through Greengard Forest. Again, slightly updated, but you know, Greengard Forest, go there quite a lot. Now, J6 was one heck of a saga. His Hyperion, whatever he decided to call it, started off here, as far as I can remember, at the Pencil Puddle, and of course there's this sketchy dragon thing, which I believe gave you some sort of treasure map, or you got it at the salon. But either way, it was around here, and this sketchy dragon was, well, he was added in some time ago, but it's one of them bosses that you still sort of remember. Not to mention that J6, if you actually want to defeat this guy, you can actually do that nowadays if you have a party that, well, is up to the challenge. So, the Northlands. Northlands are still one of my favourite areas, based on the fact that they have one of the few things that many of these places do nowadays, and it's secret hidden items in the form of Tinsel's treasure chest. Well, they're not chests, they're presents, but gift boxes. Unfortunately, all member, but if you haven't yet gone and done them, I really would recommend it, because it is a good bit of fun. So, the last thing I wanted to touch on, Nulgath. Nulgath has changed into many different forms. Well, he hasn't, he's changed once, but we will get onto that. When you first join here, you think, how the heck do I get to him? You try and go to other players, which is by far the easiest way, but eventually you have to learn the order. Or of course you can just go to Google, but either way, we'll go with you memorise the order, you make your way through the caves, and eventually you will rock up at the big guy himself, Nulgath. Now, something in my head is not looking very nostalgic about this, so I'm just trying to compute it a second. Oh, hang on a minute, that's because it wasn't Nulgath, was it? It was Miltonius, and of course he had the Oblivion Blade floating next to him, so not that sword, but I couldn't get just a nice blank one. So that, imagine he has got an Oblivion Blade floating next to him, we'll go with that for now. So of course, he has many threats which we are going to test later, one of which is, I will strike you down. Of course that's Miltonius said that, not actually Nulgath, but we'll carry on with that for the time being. So yes, he has this shop here, well it's not a shop, it's actually loads of quests, but these quests, Juggernaut items of Nulgath, this for me was my end game back in the day. I farmed for absolutely ages just to get the Eurons, ungodly laggers if you're not aware, and of course that was it was amazing if you got any of these items, and they were still one of the hardest things to get. Yes, there were a couple harder things to get, but this still was one of the endgame challenges. Of course, this looks like nothing compared to the things we get nowadays, such as Void High Lord and all the Dage items you can go and farm for, but nevertheless, they are still good quality content. So, Nulgath shops. Well, it's not really changed in the slightest, but it still has two of the best farming pets in the game, one of which is now non-member. Of course, Drugen always used to be member, but we'll glance over that for this time second being. That made no sense at all. So let's test the theory, and there we go. We dodged it. Lovely jubbly. I just beat Miltonius, not Nilgath, at his own game, and as you can see, I'm invincible because he knows that I'm such a pro at this game.